Inside information has just dropped, and it seems like Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall has officially been agreed upon. This is big news in the MMA world, and it's going to have a huge impact on the upcoming UFC events. While everyone has been speculating about Jones' next opponent, the fight that fans have been waiting for looks like it's finally locked in. Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall will take place during International Fight Week. This is monumental for the UFC, especially considering the timing and the magnitude of this matchup. On top of that, a rumor circulating among insiders is that Strickland has just had an interesting encounter. Apparently, he recently got into a heated exchange with a popular streamer. The whole situation was wild, with Strickland calling out certain individuals and confirming that he's ready for anything, even stepping in for a fight if needed. There was talk about how Drios Jupi, a top contender, is injured for an indefinite period. Strickland, however, remains undeterred, boldly stating that he's always ready to fight and that if the UFC needs a backup, they know who to call. Strickland has long made a name for himself with his no-nonsense attitude, and his willingness to step in and save the event shows his commitment to keeping the momentum going in the fight game. But there's more. Strickland expressed his readiness to fight Hamza, a name that has been on many fighters' lips for a while now. He knows Hamza's strategy and feels confident that he can outsmart him in the octagon. Strickland's comments about the fight are full of respect for Hamza, but also a healthy dose of confidence. He noted that Hamza is a high-level fighter, but is ready to exploit any fatigue or weakness that could surface in the later rounds. According to Strickland, the key to beating Hamza lies in outlasting him and staying composed in the first two critical rounds, where Hamza's intensity is often at its peak. Strickland also touched on the mental side of fighting, acknowledging that even when fighters get tired, the best competitors still believe they can win. This mental resilience is what separates the top-tier fighters from the rest, and Strickland seems to understand that well. His strategy is clear: survive the early onslaught and then capitalize as the fight progresses. The confidence he exudes suggests that he's not only physically ready but mentally prepared for the grind. In a separate part of the conversation, Strickland went on to talk about the potential of fighting for a title. He's eager for a shot at the belt, and he seems ready to do whatever it takes to get there. His attitude about being a prize fighter is clear. He understands that it's about staying busy and making smart career moves. If the UFC sees the opportunity for a blockbuster fight, Strickland is more than willing to be the man to step in. The timing couldn't be better for UFC fans. There are whispers about other potential matchups, such as a champion versus champion showdown. However, Strickland made a point that the UFC has missed an opportunity to make that matchup happen when both fighters were champions. That was the prime time for a bout like that. But UFC fans are already looking ahead, and the prospect of watching a fight between Strickland and a top contender, like Hamza, or even a move into the championship picture, could be the next big thing for UFC pay-per-view events. Behind the scenes, a lot has happened to shape the fighters and personalities we see today. One name that often pops up in conversations about UFC media and broadcasting is Michael Bisping. Bisping has been a mentor to many in the MMA world, and for Strickland, his guidance helped shape his broadcasting career. Strickland shared that when he started out in media, it was a bit of a surprise to him. He didn't have the typical broadcasting background. But Bisping, who had already made his mark in the UFC, offered his support and helped Strickland get his foot in the door. The transition from fighter to media personality is often tricky, but Strickland's story shows how it can be done with the right attitude. He was brought in as a guest on Dan Hardy's SiriusXM show and ended up taking over that space. It's no secret that Strickland's journey into the UFC's broadcasting scene wasn't planned, but it shows how opportunity and preparation come together to make things happen. He also made it clear that while his media career has blossomed, he's still a fighter at heart. Speaking of fighters, Strickland was recently asked about potential matchups. He made it clear that he's open to fighting anyone, including his close friends like Hamza and Robert. While it's always tough when friends face off in the octagon, Strickland's mentality is that when you reach the top levels of the sport, you don't get to pick and choose your fights. It's all business, and if he has to fight one of his friends to get to the title, he's ready to do so. In the MMA world, there's always talk about who's next and what's coming down the pipeline. Whether it's Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall or a potential showdown between Strickland and Hamza, there's no shortage of excitement ahead. Fans are eagerly anticipating these matchups, and UFC President Dana White is sure to have some major announcements coming soon. The world of UFC continues to evolve, and these fighters are at the forefront, ready to put on epic shows for the fans. Whether it's for a title or just for the